Good evening everybody and welcome to my channel. This is the first video that I do this year on my balcony. It's May 18 today. It's still chilly in the evening, but nevertheless I can sit here with a hoodie. Today I want to talk about 10 new books that were released in April and May. Books that I think are very, very interesting. Some of them I've ordered from the library. One of them I have already read, and here are my 10 book recommendations for you for April and May. Let's do this. First book I already finished. This is The Forgotten Girls, a memoir of friendship and lost promise in rural America by Monica Potts. This will be released on May 31, I think, in the United States. And this book is about a friendship. It's about a friendship between the author, Monica Potts, and a woman named Darcy. Both women grew up together in a rural town in Clinton, Arkansas, and planned actually to leave as soon as possible to get a college education and to just move away there, because this town sort of takes the bones from your back. It's a death trap, like Bruce Springsteen has sung in Born to Run. But then Monica makes it out of the town and Darcy stays somehow, and Darcy's life doesn't go the way she had dreamed about when she was like in her early teens. And then in 2015, I think, Monica gets a message from Darcy on Facebook, and Darcy tries to reconnect with her, and they actually do reconnect. And Monica finds Darcy in a trailer home on a mountain, hovering over Clinton, Arkansas, with an abusive man, and she is doing drugs, and her life has been completely different. And Monica Potts makes a singular case in this book by what can happen to, or what happens to, a lot of women from rural parts of the United States. Very interesting, very good book. The second book here on my list is, and I'm going to read to you a couple of descriptions by publishers now, but I sort of curated the books. I found them searching for them, and these are the 10 books that I really like most. The second one is Close to Home by Michael Magee, already published by Hamish Hamilton on April 6 this year. This is from Ireland. Sean's brother Anthony is a hard man. When they were kids, their ma did her best to keep him out of trouble, but you can't say anything to him. Sean was supposed to be different. He was supposed to leave and never come back. A little bit like the story about the girls from Arkansas. But Sean does come back. Arriving home after university, he finds Anthony's drinking is worse than ever. Meanwhile, the jobs in Belfast have vanished. Sean's degree isn't worth the paper it's written on, and no one will give him the time of day. One night he loses control and assaults a stranger at a party, and everything is tipped into chaos. Close to home, he witnesses the aftermath of that night as Sean attempts to make sense of who he has become and to reckon with the relationships that have shaped him for better and for worse. Drawing from his own experiences, Michael Magee in this book examines the forces which keep young working-class men in harm's way in a debut novel which shines with intelligence and humanity on every page. Close to Home is an extraordinary work of fiction about deciding what kind of man you want to be and finding your place in the scarred city you call home. Next one is very much written about a book that has been published actually 2 days ago by Chatto and Windus in the UK. And this is the third book, I think, by a very young American author, The Guest by Emma Cline. Summer is coming to a close on the east end of Long Island, and Alex is no longer welcome. A misstep at a dinner party, and the older man she's been staying with dismisses her with a ride to the train station and a ticket back to the city. With few resources and a waterlogged phone, but gifted with an ability to navigate the desires of others, Alex stays on Long Island and drifts like a ghost through the hedged lanes, gated driveways, and sun-blasted dunes of a rarefied world that is, at first, close to her. Propelled by desperation and a mutable sense of morality, she spends the next day leading up to Labor Day moving from one place to the next, cipher leaving destruction in her way. Taut, propulsive, and impossible to look away from, Emma Cline's The Guest is a spellbinding literary achievement. I ordered this already from the library. It's sort of on the move to the library. They haven't yet got it, and I think it's I'm number 4 or 5 on the list now to get this book. Emma Cline is the author of The Girls, which you may have read a few years ago. Number 4, I already get this, or have gotten this on my Kindle, an ARC from the publisher, which is Grove Press. by the way, on April 2023 it was published, April 28th it was published, and this is the very highly expected second novel of Caleb Azumah Nelson from London, England, and his first novel was Open Water, and this is Small Worlds. As the New York Times wrote, one of the most acclaimed and internationally best-selling unforgettable debuts of the year 2021, Caleb Azumah Nelson's London-set love story Open Water took the US by storm and introduced the world to a salient and insightful new voice in fiction. Now with his second novel, Small Worlds, the prodigious Azumah Nelson brings another set of enduring characters to brilliant life in his signature rhythmic, melodic prose. Set over the course of 3 summers, Small Worlds follows Stephen, a first-generation Londoner born by Ghanaian immigrant parents, brother to Ray and best friend to Adeline. On the cusp of big life changes, Stephen feels pressure to follow a certain path, a university degree, a move out of home, but when he decides instead to follow his first love, music, his world and family fractures in ways he didn't foresee. Now Stephen must find a path and peace for himself, a space he can feel beautiful, a space he can feel free. Moving from London, England to Accra, Ghana and back again, Small Worlds is an exquisite and intimate new novel about the people and places we hold close from one of the most elegant, poetic, CNN, and important voices of a generation. Number 5, also very highly expected, an American author. This is Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. I have ordered this one too from the library, published by Harvill Secker in England on May the 2nd this year. Welcome to Chain Gang All-Stars, the highly popular, highly controversial profit-raising program inside America's private prison system. Harkening back to the time of gladiators, but watched by millions of live-stream subscribers, prisoners compete for the ultimate prize of freedom. Loretta Turvar and Hamara Hurricane Stacker, teammates and lovers, are the fan favorites. If all goes well, Thurva will be free in just a few matches, a fact she carries as heavily as her lethal hammer. But will the price be simply too high? For one of America's fiction's brightest stars, this is an electrifying, page-turning, near-future dystopia perfect for fans of The Handmaid's Tale, Squid Game, and Watchmen. And of course, the author is dealing with the American prison system, which is a very special prison system, which is made to gain profits for big corporations who are investing in prisons, because prisons are a corporate industry in the United States. Number 6, talking about prison, this is a thriller author, one of the best on the market, I think, for years now. Number 6 is Small Mercies by Dennis Lehane, published by Harper on April 25, a few weeks ago. In the summer of 1974, a heat wave blankets Boston, and Mary Pat Fennessy is trying to stay one step ahead of the bill collectors. Mary Pat has lived her entire life in the housing project of Southie, the Irish-American enclave that stubbornly adheres to old tradition and stands proudly apart. One night, Mary Pat's teenage daughter Jules stays out late and doesn't come home. That same evening, a young black man is found dead, struck by a subway train under mysterious circumstances. The two events seem unconnected, but Mary Pat, propelled by a desperate search for her missing daughter, begins turning over stones best left untouched, asking questions that bother Marty Butler, chieftain of the Irish mob, and the men who work for him, men who don't take kindly to any threat to their business. Set against the hot, tumultuous months when the city's desegregation of its public schools exploded in violence, Small Mercies is a superb thriller, a brutal depiction of criminality and power, and an unflinching portrait of the dark heart of American racism. It is a mesmerizing and wrenching work that only Dennis Lehane could write. I love Dennis Lehane. I've read most of his novels. I can't wait to get my hands on this one. I ordered it as well from the library, and will be arriving in a few weeks, as will the next one, number 7 on my list, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, published by William Morrow 2 days ago on May 16. Authors June Hayward and Athenia Liu were supposed to be twin rising stars. Same year at Yale, same debut year in publishing. But Athena's a cross-genre literary darling, and June didn't even get a paperback release. Nobody wants stories about basic white girls, June thinks. So when June witnesses Athena's death in a freak accident, she acts on impulse. She steals Athena's just-finished masterpiece, an experimental novel about the unsung contributions of Chinese laborers to the British and French war efforts during World War I. So what if June edits Athena's novel and sends it to her agent as her own work? So what if she lets her new publisher rebrand her as Juniper Song, complete with an ambiguously ethnic outdoor photo? Doesn't this piece of history deserve to be told, whoever the teller? That's what June claims, and the New York Times bestseller list seems to agree. But June can't get away from Athena's shadow, and emerging evidence threatens to bring June's stolen success down around her. As June races to protect her secret, she discovers exactly how far she will go to keep what she thinks she deserves. With its totally immersive first-person voice, Yellowface takes on questions of diversity, racism, and cultural appropriation, not only in the publishing industry, but the persistent erasure of Asian American voices, and history by Western white society. R.F. Kuang's novel is timely, razor-sharp, and eminently readable. Sounds great, as does the next one, which is a non-fiction book from England. This is called Arrangements in Blue, Notes on Love and Making Alive by Amy Key, and published by Jonathan Cape on May 9 this year, a few days ago. Arrangements in Blue elegantly honors the life lived completely by and for oneself. Inspired by Joni Mitchell's seminal album Blue, celebrated British poet Amy Key sets out to examine the volatile scales of romantic feeling as she has encountered them. From the low notes of loss and unfulfilled desire, punctuated by sharp, discordant feelings of jealousy and regret, to the deep harmony of friendship and the highs defined by sexual attraction and self-realization. Key celebrates the bliss of sleeping in an empty bed, the intimate energy required for cooking solo, and the transformative power of traveling alone, especially to the sea. Written with the exquisite finesse of a poet, this bold manual for navigating life alone provides an alternative perspective on a shared human experience so rarely explored. Number 9, sad but fine that this book is finally published. It's Standing in the Shadows by Peter Robinson. It's the last book in the Inspector Banks series, number 28 in the series. The author, Peter Robinson, British-Canadian author, died last year in November, and this is his posthumous, his last and final book that he completed, and that is now published by Hodder and Stoughton on June 8 in a few days to come in this year. Late November 1980, student Nick Hartley returns from a lecture to find his house full of police officers. As he discovers that his ex-girlfriend has been found murdered in a nearby park and her new boyfriend is missing, he realizes two things in quick succession. He's undoubtedly a suspect, as he has no convincing alibi, and he has own suspicions as to what might have happened. Then, late November 2019, a dig near Scotch Corner unearths a skeleton that turns out to be far more recent than the Roman remains the archaeologist is looking for. Detective Superintendent Alan Banks and his team are called in, and as an investigation into the find begins, the past and the present meet with devastating consequence. I've ordered this one too from the City Library, and well, I think 4 or 5 of these books I will get in a few weeks. And the last one is from Portland, Oregon. It's from New York, from Simon & Schuster, the publisher, but it plays out in Portland, Oregon. This is The Wait by Jeff Boyd, that was published on April 11. A powerful coming-of-age novel about a 20-something black musician living in predominantly white Portland, Oregon, playing in a rock band on the verge of success while struggling with racism, romance, and the legacy of the strict religious upbringing. Julian Strickland is seemingly the lone black man in the hipster dreamland of Portland, Oregon. To his friends, he's the coolest member of the scene, the soulful drummer from Chicago in an indie rock band that's just about to break through. But to himself, he's a sheltered Christian homeschool kid who used to write book reports on Leviticus. A virgin until the night of his marriage, divorced at 24, he's still in disarray 2 years later, pretending to fit in, wondering if any of his relationships are real, estranged from his family and struggling to reconcile his relationship with God. Then he meets Ida Blair, a black painter at the start of her promising career. They begin a tentative relationship, and Ida seems to offer Julian relief from his confusion. But suddenly she stops responding to his texts. Things only get worse when Julian's best friend mysteriously turns on him, his house burns down, and the band considers breaking up on the eve of their most important show yet. It seems the only thing Julian has left, the only thing he's ever had, really is the weight he's carrying. Jeff Boyd's beguiling first novel is a piercing exploration of faith, racial identity, love and friendship, woven of acid humor, disarming vulnerability, and unforgettable poignance. 10 books to read during the summer, 10 books that were released in April and May this year. Some of them I have on the way coming from the library, some of them I probably have to order from my bookseller. What are you reading from April and May of 2023? Do you have anything to add to this list? Please drop them in the comments down below, and I see you soon in another video. Thank you and bye.